All right. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, our beloved uncle, His Grace PANCA GAUDA Prabhu. And all glories to the assembled Vaishnava devotees. We thank you all for being here as always. And Prabhuji PANCA GAUDA Prabhu, thank you so much for being here. You've been so generous, so kind to us, visiting us at least once in a month and sharing your love and wisdom with us. We can't thank you enough, but just by way of trying to show our appreciation, we say thank you. And without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from here. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Narang Chaiva Narottamam. Deving Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nasta Presho Bhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 23. Esha prapana varado ramayat mashakya yad yat karishyati grihita gunavataraha tasmin svavikramam idang srijato picheto yunjita karma shamalang chayata vijayam. You want to go right to the translation, or you want to do word for word? Yeah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, is always the benefactor of the surrendered souls. His activities are always enacted through his internal potency, Rama, or the goddess of fortune. I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world, and I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. In the matter of material creation, maintenance, and destruction, there are three incarnations of the material modes of nature: Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar. But the Lord's incarnation as Vishnu, in his internal potency, is the supreme energy for the total activities. Brahma, who is only an assistant in the modes of creation, wanted to remain in his actual position as an instrument of the Lord instead of becoming puffed up by false prestige of thinking himself the creator. That is the way of becoming dear to the Supreme Lord and receiving his benediction. Foolish men want to take credit for all creations made by them, but intelligent persons know very well that not a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. Thus, all the credit for wonderful creations must go to him. By spiritual consciousness only can one be freed from the contamination of material affection and receive the benedictions offered by the Lord. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vanchakalpaturubhyascha kripa sindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll just read the translation once again. Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always the benefactor of the surrendered souls. His activities are always enacted through his internal potency, Rama, or the goddess of fortune. I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world, and I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. So this material world, Krishna, he is giving us a facility. In the spiritual world, the transcendental world, all the Nitya Siddhas are eternally liberated and serving the Lord with love. And there's no fear, there's no anxiety, because they are eternally happy in their reciprocation of love with Krishna. And for those who are deviant or jealous, there's no jealousy or envy in the spiritual world, but somehow, due to our independence, minute independence, Krishna's the supremely independent personality, Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal, ever-existing, undying. So we have all those godly qualities, but somehow when we want to enjoy separately from Krishna, we become Nitya Baddha. There are different philosophies. Some philosophies are floating that not a leaf falls from Vaikuntha and the living entities were generated in the Mahatattva, and somehow by this process of enlightenment, one can get free from the Nitya Buddha status and go back to the spiritual kingdom. But my limited understanding, due to my smallness, I feel Prabhupada very clearly indicates that somehow we do have a relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world, and we've served nicely, but it may have just come up like that, just like, what it would be like to be the master, the controller, the ruler. So for those who don't want to follow the laws of the state, which govern people to be free citizens, and they're not harmful to others, but once one breaks the laws and becomes a harm to himself and others, he is restricted, he's imprisoned. So this material world that Krishna, he expands himself as Mahavishnu, and from his body pores, and from his nostrils and his mouth, unlimited universes are emanating. So we're hearing in this particular, where we are now, how Lord Brahma, after finding himself on this lotus, this transcendental lotus, going in the stem of the lotus to find out, who am I? Why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? And he heard tapa. So the Lord inspired that, first of all, you sit calmly, peacefully, and meditate. So Lord Brahma did that for 100 years of the celestial years. We can't imagine, it's beyond our ability to understand the amount of time in tapasya that Brahma actually considered the most qualified living being, empowered by the Lord to create the whole universe. Secondary creator. The Lord, not a blade of grass, moves without the sanction of the Lord. But Krishna, because Lord Brahma performed the tapasya, performed the austerities, and prayed to the Lord manifested within his heart the Vedic knowledge. And the Veda is the source of all information concerning which govern what is the purpose and goal of life. We may have many philosophers, poets, politicians, and leaders who want to execute their plan, their master plan, for peace and harmony, League of Nations, United Nations. So many attempts are always looking to gather everyone together for peace and happiness. But Abrahma Bhuvanaloka Punaravartano Arjuna, from the highest planet down to the lowest, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. But the reflection is there. The spiritual world has to have variety, fruits and flowers and birds and color and taste and flavor, music, beauty. When we hear the description of the spiritual world and the description of the Vaikuntha Vasis and Goloka Brijabasis and all the servants and assistants of the Lord, the friends of the Lord, the parents, the lovers, it's all very, very glorified and very beautiful. We also see that in this world because this world's a reflection of the spiritual world. We have an indication that there's love, that there's exchange. So Lord Brahma, after performing the yajna, and now he's being empowered to again create, because we see how at the end of his day, after so many manus and so much time has passed, and 1,000 cycles of the Yuga cycles, Satya Yuga, what is it, 1,800,000 years, and Treta Yuga, 1,200,000 years, Dwapara Yuga, 800 something thousand years, Kali Yuga, 400 something thousand of years. And we've already passed over 5,000 years in Kali Yuga, and it's going downhill from here. The people, their qualities of there's no goodness left. It's all passion and ignorance, dense darkness, unfortunately. And people have no good qualities. We even see from hundreds of years ago, or even just some years ago, that there was some respect for seniors, for elders, and there was proper behavior and proper etiquette. But it seems like Kali Yuga is progressing so quickly that people in general are not being taught how to behave like human beings or understand what the purpose of life is. And Brahma is feeling very, very much an anxiety because he knows that Krishna wants his glories to be spread all over the world. And all the devotees, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, Pritu Maharaj, all the great personalities, they're always feeling anxiety for the suffering of all the fallen conditioned souls. And that suffering is due to forgetfulness of Krishna, forgetfulness of that this body is a vehicle, it's instrumental. The human form of life in this world is a great opportunity. They say Brahma and the various demigods would like to take birth as human beings to utilize the human form of life for the purpose of reawakening their love for Krishna. So besides all the philosophy, we have to hear repeatedly that if one wants to become happy, he has to work very, very hard, keep up with the status quo, make sure he takes care of all his responsibilities in a very responsible way by working really hard. And it's okay, hard work is good, but only if it's dedicated or directed towards serving Krishna. So besides many scriptures and many religions and many leaders giving direction, we are so fortunate that from Lord Brahma, the Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who very much gave approval of Brahma Samhita and the mood of Lord Brahma and Narada Muni, and then teaching the direct disciples, the six Goswamis, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta ordering Srila Prabhupada to take this Vedic knowledge and spread it all over the world. Now, how to do that? So many people have read Bhagavad Gita, they don't have a clue what to do. You may read so many Puranas and so many literatures. You could be a bookworm and, study. But this is not simply some academic exercise, because people, they rarely have a taste to hear about Vaikuntha or God and godly qualities. They're more inclined to hear about politics and how to make money. They have conventions and they have many different organizations, societies, how to improve your financial status and how to enjoy this body and how to enjoy life in this world. But that's unfortunate that people they're not getting the proper guidance. That's why Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaking to Arjuna, Arjuna was giving many, many challenging questions at first, but he surrendered, but he still had many questions because he was his guru. He decided that, yes, I surrendered to you, so please instruct me. So Krishna's instructing in Bhagavad Gita that we take shelter of the guru, who is a representative of Krishna. It's not just some ceremony, some fad. Oh, everyone else is getting initiated, let me get initiated. Rules and regulations, yeah, I can follow a few. And as far as dedicating all my energy and time for the pleasure of the Lord, that we have to work on. We actually have to mold our lives and really get a grip in this devotional service. Srila Prabhupada was talking to hippies and persons who were simply addicted to sense gratification, and they were not happy with the lifestyle of their parents, and there was nothing being offered to them of any value. So Srila Prabhupada giving us the Vedas in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar Devotion, Krishna book, and Bhagavad Gita. Also, he established this International Society for Krishna Consciousness for the purpose of worshiping the deities, Archa Vigraha. Have you seen the Lord? Yes, every morning we can see his beautiful shining face, that you can worship the Lord in the form as described in the Vedic literature. You may think, well, these are just material forms made of brass, wood, or stone. How can that be? Well, God is everywhere. Well, why go to the temple? Why not go to the temple? Because if devotees are coming together, seeing the deity and treating, it's a sense of the proper mentality that you think God doesn't need to eat. Patrang pushpang palang toyang some bhaktya prayashchati. But if you offer Krishna fruits, flowers, some water with tulsi, with devotion, he said this bhakti is what he's looking for, this love. Krishna, he's fully Atmarama, self-satisfied. He doesn't need gopis or to marry 16,000 queens. He could marry 16 million, 16 billion. There's trillions of gopis, goddesses of fortune serving Krishna. Krishna's totally complete. But it's still being so great and so huge and wonderful, he still has a love like a parent for the child. If he expands himself in the form of Vishnu Tattva, but also he expands himself in the form of the living entities and gives you your own independent mentality so that there's some reciprocation. It's not a stereotyped or dogmatic Krishna, well, why does he need that? It's his enjoyment. You see the varieties. Why not one flower? No, so many varieties of flowers, so many varieties of birds, so much variety of taste, so much variety of color, and everything is very Krishna's very colorful, very wonderful, wonderful Krishna. There's a whole chapter in Krishna book, Wonderful Krishna. So human life, whether one is a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi, the Vedic, we're not going to be able to replicate the Vedic civilization totally because people have a different lifestyle and to live in this world and to be aloof from it. People think that you're escaping, or that, you're just a worthless person who just doesn't want to deal with the challenges of maintaining a family and leading a productive life to help in a society. But devotees, they give the highest gift, the highest understanding. Because if we take the mood, like the six Goswamis, previously there were ministers of the government, finance and managerial ministers, very intelligent, very qualified. But what did they do? They renounced the materialistic aspect, but they were so busy in glorifying Krishna, hearing about Krishna, and trying to distribute this knowledge of Krishna to others. I remember I came from Buffalo, New York to Miami in 1976, and immediately they said, "Oh, you would be a good book distributor." So they put me out in the airport. I said, "Okay, let's try it." And we were distributing Back to Godhead magazines, and just a challenge of being regulated, do the morning program and chant your rounds nicely, hear the Bhagavatam, do your personal little bit of reading, take prasad, and go out on the field to try to give people an opportunity to not waste their human form of life. And then very quickly, we started doing the big books. And although sometimes the mind would be rebellious, thinking, what am I doing out here? I don't want to approach or bother people. And it's a little bit awkward for me. I'm pretty quiet or introverted. I don't want to disturb others. But I just felt this is what Srila Prabhupada wants. He is preaching, he is giving knowledge to others because people are suffering. We should not be thinking that I'm taking from someone. We're giving the highest gift. We're giving the best benefit. We're awakening people up that they're walking off the edge of the roof to their own death. They're committing suicide by not taking up this devotional practice. And then, even though we may not be 100%, there's 10 offenses to chanting the holy name, 26 good qualities of the demigods, godly qualities. Unless one has godly qualities, he cannot enter into the spiritual world. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati kinchana sarvar gunais tatra samasate sura. And the way to develop the godly qualities and to become free from offenses is to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya and chant the holy name. We may not understand the potency of the holy name. We may feel, well, I'm not pure. I have so many desires. Akama sarvo kamova moksha kamo daradi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purushang param. You might have full of desires. Okay, no desires. Or you want just liberation. Whatever condition, just like Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted a huge kingdom, but by performing the yagya in Madhavan, in Vrindavan, by the order of Narada Muni, he attained perfection of bhakti and had the personal darshan of the Lord. And he was saying, I don't want anything. I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but you've given me the highest gift. And that gift is devotional service. That means that we should try to regulate our life to hear Bhagavatam daily, more and more, and want to associate with devotees, to participate in festivals like, the Janmastami, Radhastami, Rath Yatra, and we have, so many wonderful festivals. We just finished a festival in Atlanta. We had a really nice Rath Yatra. It turned out to be a beautiful day. It was going to rain. Thousands of devotees came. Everyone was singing, dancing. And they had a Panihati festival, making Lord Nityananda inaugurated a Panihati festival where they're making all these wonderful preparations, so many combinations, very colorful, very tasteful. And the whole altar was packed with offerings of love. So the excitement of decorating the temple, decorating the deities, of cooking a feast, and singing and dancing enthusiastically all together. And all the time that this becomes our life, we're not interested in just politics and just to see the sufferings that the unqualified leaders are giving the citizens. I was reading about Prithu Maharaj, and after the great sages and saints churned the hands of Vena, then Archie and Prithu Maharaj manifested. And so all the Brahmins and sadhus were glorifying him. Oh, you are this, you are wonderful. And Prithu Maharaj said, no, no, don't glorify. Let me do something first before you say all these things to glorify me. And there was a last yagya that Prithu Maharaj was going to perform, Ashvamedha Yagya, but Indra became jealous and envious, and he kept stealing the horse that was to be sacrificed. And the son of Prithu Maharaj kept bringing the horse back, but then ultimately the Lord appeared before the sacrifice with Indra and resolved the whole issue. And it says that this falsity, every time he stole the horse, he dressed like a sannyasi or a saint. And so it is describing that in Kali Yuga, people will be artificially utilizing the spiritual orders for their own personal gain or gratification. Anyway, I got a little deviated there, but the idea is that we need to give up the envy and jealousy and develop tolerance, tikshiva karunika surida sarvadehanam, the tolerance, mercy, and kindness. Because Krishna is equal to everyone, like the sunshine is brilliantly shining for everyone's benefit. It's not a American sun or Indian sun or African sun or Chinese sun. The sun is for everyone. Krishna is for everyone. It's not Christian sun, Hindu, or Muslim. Any religion, if you're developing your love for God by following the teaching, is good. But Prabhupada's giving us an opportunity to understand at depth Krishna and Krishna's glory and how we can scientifically and systematically get free from our identification with this body. It's not easy. We all have families. I have my 2 sons and 2 grandsons, and we all have various responsibilities that we have to take care of. But the beauty of the Krishna consciousness movement is that we can engage everyone in chanting Krishna's holy name, and to whether we're attracted or not attracted by hearing the transcendental sound vibration of this Bhagavatam. It's an incarnation of the Lord. In this age of Kali Yuga, there's darkness. The newspapers are their scripture, or WhatsApp or Instagram or different forms of communicating with each other to discuss all the sufferings and all the misguided people's miseries. That's the news. Kali Yuga. The news is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Also, one jet in India from Ahmedabad just went down with over 200 some people and crashed. So there's danger, and life is very, very short. And so we should be joyous and happy that if we can participate in a society, it doesn't mean that we need to have some position. Brahma's praying, then don't let this power that you're giving me get to my head. I don't want to think that I'm the creator. I just want to be able to worship you and glorify you. But still, Brahma Mohana Lila, that when Krishna appeared in Braj, and then he was performing pastimes with all his cowherd boyfriends. Brahma thought, how is this possible? Little boy, cowherd boy. Is this really him? And so, using his mystic power, he stole all the cowherd boys and calves, but Krishna immediately replicated them. And so he became bewildered. Then at the end of that whole intrigue, Lord Brahma's praying for forgiveness. He could see the Lord, he's creating everything and everyone. But this body, which is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, also the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego, the body may go back to the ground from ashes, from earth to earth, because it's only a vehicle. One shouldn't think that, oh, I'm a Rolls Royce, so and you're just a little Tata, you know. People sometimes they identify so much with their financial, I'm a millionaire or a billionaire, or I drive a very fancy car, whereas your car is a small car. So, your different identifications. And then the bodily concept, they're always trying to make that elite human race, but this is all a temporary vehicle covering, but it's a very valuable vehicle because Krishna, he's giving us the boat, or the Vedic literatures are the favorable winds. The guru is the captain. And we have an opportunity, a genuine opportunity, because I know there was at one time people were very much attached to the multi-level marketing, coming in a ground opportunity, fantastic. Your life is perfect now. You've come in at the right time to make fortune for yourself and for your family. But this is the real, genuine opportunity of a lifetime to take up Krishna consciousness, however we can take it up. And it may not be easy in one sense because of our strong attachment to the mind and senses, but at the same time, it's essential and it's important that somehow or other we take up Krishna's message. Srila Prabhupada is with us by hearing his lectures. I don't know if you have it, but you can easily download Prabhupada lectures, and right from when you get up in the morning, put on the lecture. Listen, you may be doing different things. You might think, oh, I can't bring Prabhupada here, this room, the washroom, that room. This transcendental sound vibration, the more and more we hear it, the more it unlocks our heart and our mind. And if we don't form our life in such a way that we're hearing and chanting about Krishna, then we're making arrangements how to find sense gratification. And ultimately, we're going to end up getting old. The senses become very worn out. The eyes, you cannot see, you cannot hear, and so many diseases, so much suffering. People like to hide the idea of disease and death. It's not a very attractive feature of this. Oh yeah, everyone has to die. Yeah, but the misery involved in this repetition of birth and death is very, very significant. It's described that being packed in the womb, imagine being bound by hands and foot and bent over. You think, oh, baby, they have no consciousness, they can't feel. But at a certain point, the consciousness becomes manifest, and you're actually feeling great discomfort, great pain. And says one who's a little bit advanced, he prays to the Lord, oh, get me out of this awful situation. I promise you, I'll serve you. uh, I'll chant your glories. But then when you come out and all the parents and relatives, oh, how cute, how wonderful. And, you're being bitten, but they think you're hungry, or, you can't express yourself, and you're at the hands, hopefully, of loving parents. Otherwise, many times they abort the child before he even has a chance to make an opportunity to have a human form of life. And with all the sinful activities going on, with slaughtering the animals, and just in general, living in the material world means sinful life. Karma nidaiva nitrena. As you sow, so you shall reap. And when we hear about the hellish planets, these are not just stories. All scriptures talk about the hellish planets, but we should not be so callous as to think that, okay, whatever happens, happens. You know, no, we should run the marathon. Let's run the marathon by wanting to participate in the morning program wherever we can, whether it's in your home, whether it's at a temple. Prabhupada's created an institution, a society. There may be many bad people in our society, but there's a lot of good people. And the teachings are solid and clear. So we like to encourage utsahan nischayat taryat tat karma pravartanat. The enthusiasm is what Krishna is looking for. Determination, that enthusiastic and patience. Be patient. It will come. Oh, I've been following chanting for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, 60 years. I don't see much improvement. Well, if we're desirous, just like I'm a drummer. I started drumming when I was young. I got my first set of drums when I was like 11 or 12 years old. But I went to, practice to a teacher, and you study from others. You hear and you study from the books, and by practicing and by studying and by hearing from the teacher and trying to follow, then it becomes more spontaneous, automatic. So in the beginning, it's very rudimental. Oh, so many rules and regulations, chanting and hearing, okay, but do it. And by doing it, you develop a taste. What is that? Jaundice, disease, and you lose your taste for everything. But by taking the sugar candy as some kind of cure, as you get free of your disease, then it becomes sweet. And you don't want to go out to the clubs or parties or be around other people who are simply talking politics and finding fault with one another. You want to be around swan-like people who are taking pleasure in the clean, crystal clear waters and hearing about the glories of Krishna, about the devotees. Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, they were enthusiastic, asking questions, and because the questions were so enthusiastic, the answers became Maitreya speaking with Uddhava and Vidura, and the Sutta Goswami talking to the sages of Naimisharanya. The Bhagavatam is laden with all kinds of discussions and prayers, glorifications. It's like from one transcendental story to another, and asking all the important questions about the entanglement of this world and how to get free from the entanglement and how to go back home, back to the spiritual kingdom. And these are the proper questions that need to be asked. We don't need to simply talk economics. Teshang satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvikam didami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayantite. To those who are devoted and worshiping Krishna with love and devotion, Krishna gives them knowledge and intelligence how to come to him. So this is what's happening with Lord Brahma, that Krishna is guiding from within. He's giving him the strength and the Shakti to create the whole material universe, all the varieties of living entities, all the different planets, the atmosphere of all the different beings on different planets at different calibers according to their quality, and the various species of life. And all this great manifestation is simply to facilitate the Atma, the spirit soul, the infinitesimal Jivatma. We're all the same. The dog, spirit soul, the plant, spirit soul, the bird, the demigod, spirit soul. We all have that same eternal quality of Krishna. We're just differently dressed, differently covered. But from all the different forms of life, from lowest to highest, human life is very rare. And to meet a guru, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. It's a great prasad, the offering of Krishna and Guru, that we're wandering throughout the universe in many bodies, in many universes, many, we're just floating in this Mahatattva, trying to find happiness. But our only happiness is, again, being home, back with Krishna. In this very lifetime is described. Prabhupada, they asked him how long it takes to become Krishna conscious. He said, within a moment. You're not reading Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharma parityaja mamekang sharanang vraja ang tvang sarapapivyo mokshesham masuchaha. What's it mean, though, to surrender to Krishna? That means, okay, I want to dedicate all my time, all my energy, all my enthusiasm for hearing and chanting about Krishna, and try to get free from my attachments of enjoying this world with my personal ideas of happiness. It's a big task. You think, oh, don't be overly fanatical now. Let's relax a little bit. Yes, we're all loving one another. We try to help one another, encourage one another in our own spiritual lives. We know there's challenges. Obviously, I was brahmachari for 9 years, been married for like 41 years. I've managed temples, and I've done businesses. So we all go through many different experiences in life. Having a family is not easy. Having children is not easy. Meeting the financial responsibilities, that's not easy. But somehow always praying that Krishna keeps us in the association of devotees. Asat Sangha Tyag Avaishnavachar. Avoid the association of materialists who are simply envious, jealous of God, and only looking to better themselves and have no respect to others. Whereas devotees, they're very tolerant, they're very kind, they're very merciful. If you read the 26 qualities of a devotee, you see that he's a sublime person that everyone wants to be with. And so, unless we develop these godly qualities by chanting Krishna's holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then it's not an easy task. But I thank you, the organizers of Hare Krishna Africa, because whenever I get whenever I have a assignment of giving class, I always get a little nervous, thinking, "Oh, I got to read more Bhagavatam. I have to read something, otherwise I'll act like a fool and not be able to say anything of any value that anyone can appreciate." But this is I was in traveling Sankirtan. I may have told you this story before. It's 1976. We were doing book distribution. I was in Dallas, Texas. Many nice devotees there. Satsarup Maharaj was there. He said, given a chance to give class, don't let it pass. So I always feel a little bit obligated that although I'm not qualified and we might not feel like we can contribute that much, somehow or other, we pray for empowerment from Prabhupada and the blessings of the devotees. And ultimately, Krishna has his hand in it, because Sarvasya Chahang Hridisana Vishnu Matat Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. He's there in our heart, everyone's heart. And Krishna is giving knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And only by the mercy of Krishna can we develop our devotional service, not by our simply studying the books or performing yagyas and sacrifices. All these are important, but actually it comes from mercy. It's a mercy. We're mercy cases, all of us. And so we pray for the blessings of the Vaishnavas, and we pray that Prabhupada or Krishna can awaken us, open our eyes, and give us a little taste of enthusiasm for this bhakti. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalu anasteva, anasteva, anasteva gatir anyata. Putting all philosophy aside, putting all mental speculation aside, and all sacrifices and yagyas, Krishna Varnam Tasha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtan Prayar Yajanti Hisamedasaha. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, very kind, very merciful for the fallen conditioned souls of Kali Yuga, and they gave us a special gift of the Maha Mantra. Just take this holy name and chant it, and Krishna will help us do the rest. Will cleanse us from bad habits and will give us a taste for bhakti, which we're all hankering after. Ultimately, we're all looking for bhakti, that love, because you're never going to become free from peace or from anxiety and achieve that peace unless we take shelter of Krishna. And the way to do that is by chanting his holy name. Very powerful method, the medicine to wipe out the disease of Kali Yuga. So I can leave it at that. I'm sure that sometimes they have good questions. Maybe you have some questions or comments. I appreciate the opportunity that I can say a few words. Although Lord Brahma is a great personality, and this is a very beautiful part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I thank all of you for giving me the chance to say a few things about bhakti, whatever little I know. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So beautiful. Well, I cannot speak for the other devotees, but personally, I do not care very much about how much proficient someone may be in speaking the scriptures or quoting and making the references. It's beautiful. I appreciate it. But to me, what attracts me the most, maybe because I'm sick all the time, but what attracts me the most is the energy of the speaker. And if even you did not prepare for the class before you came here to speak, just by seeing you and hearing you say whatever is very, very wonderful and very much heart fulfilling. So thank you, and I'm just happy that Srila Prabhupada made it possible for me to have people like you, and there are many of you in my life. So thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question. Well, Prabhuji, I find Lord Brahma's prayer, of course, there are a series of prayers, but this particular prayer we're discussing today is so important and so relevant. How we sometimes forget who we are simply because we are given the opportunity to rise to a certain status, and we forget where we came from. So Lord Brahma is praying to the Lord that he does not become puffed up for being the creator. You also cited the example that, like, when the soul is in the mother's womb, the soul prays to the Lord, please get me out of this hellish condition, and once you get me out of this place, I'm going to serve you and worship you. I'm asking this to try to correlate Lord Brahma's prayers and whether he lived up to what he was praying, that he does not become puffed up. If he did not become puffed up, and the soul in the mother's womb is also praying that once he comes out, he will not become puffed up. But he comes out and he becomes puffed up and he forgets about Krishna. So my question is, what is the difference? How come that Lord Brahma prayed not to be puffed up and he was granted not to be puffed up? Or the Lord did not grant that prayer and he becomes puffed up. Or, again, in the living entity condition, we pray to the Lord not to become puffed up. We come out and the Lord does not listen to us and we become puffed up. Most of us prayed like that. And most of us, if not all of us, are so puffed up. What is the difference to Lord Brahma's prayers not becoming puffed up and we becoming puffed up? Did we mean it or we did not mean it? Hare Krishna.
Well, Lord Indra, he begs for forgiveness, he gets in trouble. Again, he begs for forgiveness, he gets in trouble again. And it's like all the times that we're praying, my Lord, please let me not get puffed up. But because we still want to be the enjoyers and we haven't really let go of the idea of me, it's all about me. And then, it's a learning and surrendering process. Shows that even great personalities, despite the fact that they pray fervently from heart and soul, but still the Maya, this Daivi Hesha Guna Maya Mama Maya Dharatya, is very stringent, very difficult to overcome. She will not allow nonsense to enter into the spiritual kingdom. So although we're seeing our own shortcomings and our own frailties, and we're praying to the Lord, but still we're still holding on to a little bit for ourselves. And then again, it becomes, whenever that desire to enjoy separately, Maya, Daivi, the Shakti of Maya covers us again, and again, we have to learn. But these learning experiences are a gateway to gaining strength in our spiritual lives. We don't know exactly how all that works. We think, well, I already prayed to God that I don't want anything, but how much was it? 100%, or was it just something that we thought at the time was a very good idea, just like at a funeral prayer when everyone is very sober and solemn, and they're thinking, yes, forget, I'm going to get really serious about my life now because the atmosphere is such. But then after the funeral is finished and the sun is shining and, it's a beautiful, bright day and you meet your friends, let's go party. Okay, then immediately we forget about our serious, surrendered mood. And again, we take up the idea of trying to be happy or the controller in this world again.
Wow. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wow. I truly love the answer because it reminds me of one remark one senior godbrother of mine made some time ago. And he was saying that, Sahadev, even when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we should be meditating on what we are saying and like behind the words coming out of our mouth, we should actually sincerely mean that, Lord, I'm asking you to engage me in your service. Please. Yes, I mean it. You should not be just babbling, repeating. So thank you so much. It's an affirmation to what this senior godbrother of mine shared with me. Madhavan Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for giving us the Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving us this very wonderful lecture. I so much appreciate it. And just
Madhavan Prabhu. Madhavan Prabhu,
that reminds me of a statement made by Jesus. Yeah.
You're breaking up. So if you can momentarily turn off your camera, that might help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of a statement where Jesus said that it's easier for an elephant, a camel, to enter the eye of an eagle, needle, than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. So when we look at the position of Lord Brahma, very high position. So the possibility of being puffed up or get carried away, I think is very, very high. Especially if you compare our situation with his own situation. We live just maybe 100 years, and look at someone who will live almost 1 billion years. So the amount of knowledge, experience, mystical power, so all those things. And then tendency that he will be worshipped by many people, because people that doesn't know Krishna, they will think Lord Brahma is the all in all. So many things like that can actually be way that somebody, when you have this popularity, very rich, things and things like that. So I want us to think in that direction, and I don't know Prabhu's comment about
Okay. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, would you like to share some comment to what he was saying? Madhava Prabhu was saying is that Lord Brahma, of course, he first quoted from the Bible, where Lord Jesus Christ said, it is easier to pass a camel through the eye of a needle. Yeah, a camel through the eye of a needle than a rich man going to the kingdom of God. So Lord Brahma, with his position and powers, with his wealth, everything, it is quite likely and easier for such a person, such a being, to become puffed up. So that is one angle he is looking at. So unlike in our case, we may not have all these facilities. So we can become puffed up, but Lord Brahma has a higher rate of becoming puffed up. So he wanted to get your view on what he shared.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, because ultimately, when one is in a good family, or very wealthy, or very powerful, then it's difficult to be humble and to recognize that, we start thinking that we're the doers, that, like if somebody is like a Rockefeller, Ford, Birla, or some very, very wealthy person in the world, they get very arrogant usually. And what to speak of Brahma, he was recognizing that when you give me all these mystic powers and I'm creating different worlds and different living beings, and I can manifest, and everyone's praying to me with prayers, all the subordinate demigods are glorifying me. Whenever there's any danger, they come to me, O Master of the universe. And so naturally, these kind of situations will create pride, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not even see King Prataparudra, because although he was a devotee, but at the same time showing that one who's very, very wealthy, or a king, it's very difficult to recognize that the Lord is the ultimate supplier. And who was it that Gadadhar? And I forgot the Leela exactly, but there was some criticism that, oh, he's wealthy and he's just a materialist, he's enjoying. But then when the Krishna Katha was being spoken, he immediately could see by his behavior that he was actually totally absorbed in the Lord. So the Lord will take, if he really loves you, he takes everything away, like Sudama Brahmana. But then he, again, when you're ready, he gives you everything. Prabhupada had zero coming to America. But then Prabhupada would often say, now, in just a short time, I've got houses all over the world and unlimited servants and money. And Sudama Brahman, he was totally happy being in a poor, stricken condition, but then the Lord gave unlimited, so much wealth. But we're not looking for that. But if one is in a very big position and or very, very wealthy, then, he should pray that I can have the strength to recognize that it's all your mercy and everything should be utilized in your service, like Ambarish Maharaj, emperor of the world, unlimited treasury. But he utilized everything in the Lord's service. Then it becomes perfect. So many examples are there from top to bottom so that we can relate to it and try to understand how we can, see Krishna's hand in everything, that not a blade of grass moves without Krishna, and that it doesn't take much to make us proud. It says a pauper is proud of his penny. So, we can get proud in a very insignificant way. So this is Krishna's mercy to give us examples from putting in a camel through the eye of a needle. And it's easier to do that than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. I think similar example was used for the Brahmana and the cobbler when Narada Muni told that Lord Vishnu was putting an elephant through the eye of a needle.
Yeah.
The Brahmana, although he was greatly qualified in good birth and Brahminical austerities and performing yagyas, but he didn't have the full faith that the simple cobbler that was simply in awe, thinking how the Lord is so wonderful, he can do anything. He can do anything. So these are good stories to open our eyes to understand that we're Jivera Swarupoi Krishnera Nitya Das. We're eternally Krishna's servant, doesn't matter rich or poor. This is our identity. We're servants of Krishna, otherwise we're servants of the senses. If we're not serving Krishna, we're serving the senses and the mind. And so having these examples and sometimes scriptural quotes helps us to understand and maybe maneuver through our journey of becoming detached from this world and attached to Krishna. A few words about that, can I say?
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Anyone
Thank
else
you.
with something to ask or to share? Prabhuji, Lord Brahma, of course, was born out of the lotus navel of Gauda Vishnu. But when he began praying and praising the Lord, he wasn't actually referring to Gauda Vishnu. He was referring to Govinda, Adipurusham, Swayam Bhagavan. Now, my question is, we are here trying to serve the Lord. And if we accept that we are all eternally souls surrendered to Krishna in the spiritual world, and we all have our services to the Lord, then how come that it is said that most devotees may not even go to the spiritual world, but those who will go to the spiritual world, they will go and associate with the Lord as Krishna in Vrindavan. Now, if someone's eternal relationship with the Lord is that of being in the Vaikuntha planets, will that mean that such a soul will go back to serve the Lord as he was in Vaikuntha before he came to the material world, or he will go to serve the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan?
Yeah. Well, Mahavishnu played a trick on Krishna and Arjuna because he wanted to see them. So he killed the Brahmana's sons one after another. The Brahmana was complaining. So Mahavishnu is the Lord, but he's in a different Leela, different pastime to facilitate all the conditioned souls by, creating this material prison house of the material world so we can rectify ourselves. And I personally feel this freedom, although we have an eternal identity and a loving relationship with Krishna in some capacity, whether it's Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. I think it also, you can, especially by the practice of bhakti, one may even, how you say, have a flavor to be serving Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So, but although in Vaikuntha they're fully satisfied and fully happy, but maybe this material world, I'm just saying maybe because that we're hearing about Goloka Vrindavan and Dwarka Dham and Mathura Dham and all these, and then we hear about Vaikuntha. For many times it may not seem as attractive because, oh, well, if I can go to Goloka Vrindavan, why would I want to go to Vaikuntha? But it's all, the spiritual world is fully brilliant, and all the relationships are very natural and happy and loving. But one could maybe change from Vaikuntha to Goloka Vrindavan. I think it's just like Narada Muni, he's free to travel anywhere in the material world and also in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, Goloka, and they have this freedom. And this is the meaning of a pure, empowered living entity. He was a maidservant's son, and by the blessings of the Vaishnavas and devotees and the Lord manifested before him in his next birth, he became the great Narada Muni, which is an incarnation of the Lord, actually. We're all incarnations of the Lord, but he was an empowered incarnation for bhakti, and he's free to travel anywhere and everywhere. So I don't think there's any limitations. We can maybe speculate from our low point of view, so to speak, or our limited vision or understanding. But I don't think we should bother ourselves too much. We should worry about
How to get
developing our love for Krishna,
Yeah.
and pray that Krishna gives us the strength to always stay in the association of devotees in the mood of service, and then Krishna will reveal the rest. It'll all come to us in a revelation.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. But as useless as I am, I don't know. I mean, of course, I have respect for Narayan and all forms of Narayan. I understand all these forms are Krishna. They are not different from Krishna, Govinda. But at this present moment, I don't know whether because of our teachings, philosophy, or what, but I don't have like strong affinity to Narayan as much as I do for Krishna. Even though Krishna is master mischief, but I still appreciate that Krishna rather than Narayan, like Vishnu.
You're probably a gopi, like the gopis. They came and saw Narayan and say, "Which way did
No,
Krishna
no, no,
go?"
no, 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 no,
They,
brother.
they
No.
paid no attention. They didn't pay much attention to Narayan. They wanted to find out Krishna. So you might be in the mood of the gopis there. I don't know.
No, far away from that. But I don't know. But I just feel like I just enjoy Krishna's antics, the way he plays, and even though sometimes I wish I were Yashoda or Nanda Maharaj to speak to this blue boy, but who am I? But still,
Well,
he's so sweet.
Lord Brahma and Lord Chaitanya said the best mode of worship is the mood of the gopis. So that's good. Why not? We're having a chance to understand that mood, and if we can follow in the footprints of the gopis, what no harm. don't imitate,
Yeah,
just follow.
yeah.
I don't want to see you wearing saris now next time you come out of there,
No, 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 no. But I hope and pray that we can always hear about Krishna and his devotees. I also have I have very, very strong affinity to Mother Sita. Not so much to Ram. I don't know why. I'm just a stupid, crazy guy. I like when I read the pastimes, but I don't know. But Prabhuji, thank you for being here and always encouraging us. Like I said, personally, it's so blissful to see you, to hear from you, because you're a wonderful devotee. Before we went on live, you were sharing some of your travels to Canada, to India, and then back to US, always doing something to serve Guru and Krishna. But at the same time, you're taking care of your material needs and your material dependence, which sometimes, especially those who joined very early, and of course you're a proper disciple, those who joined very early, some of them had misunderstanding. They were thinking that becoming a devotee means you have to throw everything material away. But it's very exemplary hearing you, and then also you sharing your life experiences with us, that we can do both together, all in the service of Guru and Krishna. So thank you so much. I'm talking too much. I'm going to end here and see if nobody has something to share, then maybe we may call it a day for today.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Well, before we go, there is one sannyasi from a different sampradaya, because in that sampradaya, they do not preach as much as we do. And so he was saying that, he was trying to say that they do not preach because they are higher than us, ISKCON devotees. And his explanation was that when you drink alcohol and you get drunk, you talk a lot. If you become like tipsy, you talk a lot. But when you are really, really drunk, you cannot even say a word. So I'm thinking that, Prabhuji, you've made these devotees so drunk, they are fully satisfied. They don't have any questions. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So,
Thank you.
dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker, our beloved uncle, His Grace Pancha Gauda Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarivascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All praise to His Grace Panchagoda Prabhu ki jai. All gods assembled Vaishnavi devotees ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So, devotees, as always, we thank you all so much. Hare Krishna. And we hope to see you all again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
You could do something